hockey. Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Oh boy, it's a Judd's Hockey Show. It's a Judd's Hockey Show. It's Judd, Jessi Pierce. Something wrong, guys?
Keep talking.
Okay, hold on. It's Judd, Jessi Pierce, Bardown Beauties, and AJ. And I guess I sound okay now. Like I'm in studio. I've got the whole board here. It's got to sound good.
You've got a setup that's thousands upon thousands of dollars more expensive than the laptops and phones Jessi and I are working on. And for some reason, it sounded like you were underwater, but we're good now. We're battling through much like the Minnesota Wild.
Wait. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's on. I'm just making sure this is not Sports Dad's fault because he is technologically challenged, but it doesn't look like it's my fault. So anyway, okay. So full disclosure, I've been recording shows with Phil and Declan throughout the course of the morning. We are now recording this at 12:07 p.m. on Tuesday. Jessi sent us a note about 11:45 or so. I'm set to go with the doom and gloom, to which I assumed she meant Kirill Kaprizov. Got the news on Friday on Barrero's show that it's going to be longer than the 4 to 6 weeks expected. We have not talked to Jessi about that since, and so I'm like, okay, that's not good, but I know exactly what it's about. So we fire up the cameras here to discuss this pre-show, and finally, AJ says to me, "You didn't hear about Eriksson Ek?" I'm like, "No, what's up?" And Jessi says, "Do you really think I would have just said doom and gloom on Kirill?" And I'm like, "Well, that's a big loss." So, all right, Jessi has been out. Are you at the X or Tria right now?
I'm at the X now. Yeah, I was at Tria this morning.
Okay, so we know Kaprizov is out more than 4 to 6 weeks. We're not shocked by that. What is the Joel Eriksson Ek news? And I'm just going to allow my head to pop off when you tell us.
Let's go. Joel Eriksson Ek placed on injured reserve today. He was at practice yesterday. He played in the game against the Detroit Red Wings, got an assist, I believe, even during that game. Went through practice fine yesterday, and apparently something felt off. And that is, to quote John Hines, lower body injury. He will be out for, as John Hines says, a few weeks. He is eligible to return because he is on IR for that Seattle game, the same game that Ryan Hartman is eligible to return from his suspension March 4th. So we'll see. That's kind of all they gave us. John Hines did seem genuinely surprised because, as I mentioned, I was at practice yesterday. I didn't see anything happen. Usually if a guy gets hurt during practice, somebody makes note of it, right? We notice something or somebody's missing or what have you. That was not the case here. I do think it's been a plaguing injury. Joel Eriksson Ek, if you guys recall, missed that final regular season game before Four Nations. With an injury. Lower body has plagued him, kept him out of 15 games so far this season. And that's where we're sitting. We're sitting good. It's fine. You just have no Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson Ek for the next little bit here.
So he missed the game before the break, to which we all said. I said, well, if he had to miss the game, then he certainly shouldn't go play for Team Sweden. He, of course, said, I'm pushing through. I don't care. I'm playing. He did play. To your point, Jessi, he played on Saturday afternoon in a very nice come-from-behind win against the Red Wings, and now he's out, and I think that we can surmise, especially since teams won't tell us crap, we can surmise it's the same problem now, and I'm at a complete loss here. Like, I am at a complete, what are we doing? And when I asked John Hines after that game, I think it was a win over the Islanders, right, on the Saturday before the break, when I asked him, are you concerned about, they're like, well, no. In fact, Hines' exact words were, we don't think it's anything that's going to be serious or keep him out. And now he's going to be out. This is an enormous loss. I don't understand. How do you justify this? It was a great tournament. I get that. But how do you justify this? If you're the Wild, how are you not pissed off? How are you not livid? You just are going to lose one of your most important players. Week to week's a long time. We don't know now. I just.
And I'd say, like, for Minnesota Wild time, week to week means probably almost like they're closer to a month, right? Like, given what we know about this team, and that's just me, using my own opinion here, but we were told day to day on Kirill Kaprizov, all of a sudden, hey, it's probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks after we need surgery on a day-to-day injury. So when I'm told week to week, I'm not buying that for 1 second. That seems like, okay, let's plan for his return somewhere close to playoff time. I think it, I don't know. This is a massive
the
loss.
man, that man will not at least attempt to be good to go by the playoffs if it were to be that serious. He played on a broken leg. Exactly. Like he'll get out there. He'll give it a go.
But the problem is, like, this is the thing is now you're down, and Kaprizov obviously got hurt playing for the team. That's going to take place. But now you're down 2 absolutely key players, and the trade deadline is a week from Friday, 2 p.m. Central on March 7th. And I think the question now is, Jessi, what do you do here? Like Kaprizov, it sounds like there is a possible chance he's not going to play again this season. And if he does, it'll probably be the playoffs. If Eriksson Ek is out, you don't have a replacement there. Like, is this even worth exploring the market for before the deadline? Or do you just sort of say, you know what? We got 2 key guys out. We're not going to replace them at this point. Like, what is the answer now? Or what's your opinion of the answer?
The team has had to do that next man up mentality. The problem is if you lose Joel Eriksson Ek, in addition to Kaprizov, you're losing valuable power play players. You're losing penalty killers. You're losing that innate sense of 5-on-5. We've seen before what this team looks like without Joel Eriksson Ek, and it's not great, right? They've certainly weathered the storm enough this year. Look at the man down. I think I tweeted this earlier. There's so many guys that have missed double-digit games this year with injury, and Minnesota has been able to get through that. But now it's the tough time of the season. It's the grind of the season, right? It is where everybody is fighting tooth and nail for every single point. So arguably so, you're going to be facing tougher competition with that alone, with the playoffs looming alone. And Minnesota certainly has worked their way into a playoff spot, but they're not going to hold tight to that third. They're only 4 points ahead of the Colorado Avalanche, which I last saw. So it's going to be tough. I think it's a very precarious situation for Bill Guerin, because the bigger situation is, what do you do with Kirill Kaprizov and his salary? Because he is on LTIR, do you make a move and use some of that cap space? But if you do that, then Kirill Kaprizov cannot return until the playoffs. He is out for the regular season. Now, he can practice with the team, so there would be that shining light, right? Like, he's not completely expelled from any team activities. He'd be able to get out there. He just would not be able to play in a game. Now, Kirill Kaprizov's probably not going to go for that either, so you'd have to get his buy-in. With Joel Eriksson Ek, we were not given enough detail today to really understand or know. Again, I saw Ecker practice when he returned from Team Sweden last Friday before they went to Detroit too. Everything seemed fine. It didn't seem like there were any issues. Now, I wasn't certainly looking for any issues either, right? So for all I know, it could have been there. Something was just a little sore maybe. Following Saturday, gets to practice, it got sore and hasn't gotten better. So there's still just not enough being divulged to us, unfortunately, which is our plight as media members. But I think you need to get another bottom 6 player. At least you need some forward depth at this point. Somebody, because it's not going to be one player that's going to be able to replace Joel Eriksson Ek. It's not one player to replace Kirill. But you need more than. So you need more than a Travis Dermott, right? You need different guys that are able to come in. Like, even right now today, Devin Shore, I'm guessing, plays center. I'm not entirely sure, because Yakov Trenin hasn't played there under Hines yet. It's a very interesting scenario. So I think Bill Guerin is going to be forced to get at least somebody, whether it's a very acclimating player or not, I don't know. But I think that makes the trade deadline that much more interesting for Bill Guerin and company.
I guess what I don't know too is, like, now if Kaprizov, it sounds like Kaprizov would not go along with, or that they would not hold him out until the playoffs. But there have to be questions, especially because all of this stuff is shrouded in mystery. There have to be questions if he's coming back at all. Like, they have pushed the deadline or the timeline, they pushed it back and they pushed it back, but then they won't tell you what they did. And at some point in time, we're just left to guess. And like, I am not at this point, personally, I'm not going to guess he's back. I don't know that. And they're going to lead you to believe that he is, because it doesn't benefit them. And they're allowed to keep this private, that, that if he is going to miss, I don't know, the playoffs or the first part of the playoffs. Like, there's just so many questions here. But AJ, at some point in time too, I guess my stance is this, and we've talked about this previously to now, and now I'm more emboldened in saying this. Is there a point in making a trade for a Brock Besser? if you have guy, like if you were to keep Kaprizov, let's say he's out, let's say he's just done. Is there a point in going to get with the cash that you get from him being on LTIR, a Brock Besser, Brock Nelson? Because my feeling more than ever is no. Like, you're trying to push the rock up the hill, and I know it might feel good to go get a player, that guy's gonna, but is he really going to save the day as far as a playoff run goes? I don't think so. And at this point in time, I'm not sacrificing any prospects for like this short-term sugar high of wasn't that fun. That's my opinion.
Going and doing that now, it feels like just too big of a gamble. Like, you have so much stacked against you to where going and getting this one major player only gets you back to essentially where the Wild were 24 hours ago, 2 weeks ago. Like, nothing much changes there. You're not like, you're making a big addition in the hopes that, okay, when people come back, fingers crossed, around the playoff time, and you have that, that LTIR that you're kind of circumventing here, chemistry is going to be there. They're just going to click, and all of a sudden you're going to be off the, running away with it, and all of a sudden things are just happy in Minnesota Wildland. I don't feel like that's the way to go here. If you come out and say, hey, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on this list for what we want to do in July. We now are in a position where we're looking to sign, and then, we're crossing fingers. We're going to throw the Brinks truck at them that they want to extend here. And Brock Besser is a guy that's on that list. And you come out and say that, hey, we're making this trade. We're giving up some sort of prospect, some sort of pick. I can understand it. It just feels like so much is stacked against this team that any sort of major move it's for nothing. Like, you already have the dead
players.
Exactly. And that's
my opinion.
You've done so many strategic moves in the draft, in the offseason, doing all these things to set up. It just feels like this house of cards has been built, and all of a sudden you're like, well, this one left side, it's kind of wobbling. We need to go out and do all these things to keep this house of cards built up and get it taller. But all of a sudden, if you do that, you're pulling cards from other places, and it's going to collapse. And all of a sudden, this giant plan that you had, this 5-year plan, is now out the window because you have 2 injuries that are really hurting you this season. And I know you're in a position where right now you are 4 points above the Colorado Avalanche in that third spot in the Central. You're 9 points up over the Vancouver Canucks, who are in that second wild card spot, who are a point up on Calgary. It sucks to say that you just kind of have to grin and bear it, but I don't know what else you're going to do. It feels like such an overpayment because teams now know what your situation is. They know how valuable those 2 players are to your lineup, and how much, like, if you want to get back to any sort of relevancy where you're producing every night with a solid top 2 lines, you're going to have to add somebody crucial. GMs are going to have a field day with that. Nobody's going to do you favors. This is the NHL. You're not just saying, hey, I know this is guys a rental. We're going to give you a discount here. It feels like, I don't want to say you write it off as you just have to take it and run with it as is, but any sort of price you're paying is going to be astronomical at this point. And I think it just hurts whatever future role and future goals you have for this team come 25, 26, 27. Like, this now puts you in a really bad spot, but I don't know if there's a ladder to get out of this hole.
Jessi, what do you think about that?
And the Wild don't have a lot to give by way of prospects because they're not going to give up their top prospect. They're so excited about the players that they have right now. And they don't have that many draft picks, and the ones that they do, they want to keep, they need to keep. So really, again, their hands are tied with respect to that. The only other option you look at is moving players that are on your roster now, if you can figure out a way to do that. But AJ's right. I think a lot of GMs are going to see the desperation that Minnesota is now in. And maybe they know Bill Guerin and they know the way that he works and that he's going to want something. He's going to want to try to do something. But yeah, I'm curious to see and hear what Bill's mindset would be right now, because it's like, how many times, and to the Minnesota Wild's credit, and again, I think credit to John Hines, the team has done such a tremendous job this year at working through these injuries. It is the same thing as last year, except there is a different mindset, a different mental toughness for this Minnesota Wild team. And I think that's a testament to what John Hines has been able to get through to them, because you also got to consider Ryan Hartman out right now too. That's the other piece to this puzzle that we haven't discussed. He's not out with injury, but you're down a man there too in that respect. So there's 5 games between now and the deadline. I think you see how they perform and make your final assessment there. I think that's the best that you can do. I think it's hard to make any big plans, because also if something comes across your table that's too good to say no to, you have to take it as well, right?
Oh yeah. If you get the opportunity to make a trade that is favorable, by all means. But it's just like now, like if you were going to add, if Kaprizov was out and Ek was playing, and you could add a goal scorer, it's not going to be Kaprizov, but a player that could supplement the goal scoring, that's great. But now you're without a center, you're without Kaprizov, and it's just, your opportunities or your depth chart is dwindling now. And that makes me think even more that I'm going to hold on to my assets, because still what's weird about this is there's storm clouds now, Jessi, but come July 1st, things are looking pretty good. And so it's not like the future is not bright. The future is bright. Like in some ways, this was a really fun pop-up year, and this team very well, I think, is still going to make the playoffs. The question is, do you put your eggs in the basket of let's try to win a round, because that has not, taken place here in 10 years, or do you just sort of allow it to play out, and you've got a good defensive core still? Now, who knows? Guys could get hurt there, but it's more of a balancing act. The Eriksson Ek thing just drives me crazy, though, because we knew he was hurt. He went and played in a highly competitive tournament. It's gotten worse now, and it feels like he picked his playing for Team Sweden over the Wild, and I know that he would say that's not the case, but the reality is it sort of is, and all of it makes me want to have a beer, and that beer would come from my friends at Padregs, because Sports Dad needs a beer right now, and what better beer than the official beer of the Sports Dad? Padregs Brewing. What makes them so special? Ladies and gentlemen, their Irish beers are fantastic, and what makes them so special is all they do is beer. That's exactly right. They're not trying to come up with a fruit cocktail here and something else there. They are all about the beer, and the beer is absolutely great. The red, the Irish porter, the Irish dry stout, the English IPA. I could go on and on, but I want you to try them for yourself. 6-packs available at Lunds and Byerly's, Kowalski's, Haskell's, Hy-Vee, Total Wine, and on and on. So if you do not see Padregs in your favorite liquor store or bar, just ask for it. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to have it, and you are going to say, thank you, Sports Dad. That makes the hurt of what's going on with the Wild eased just a bit. And if nothing else, Jessi, you could also head out for some golf. So tell us about our friends at Swing Lab.
Heck yeah, you can also win some tickets to go see your Minnesota Wild, courtesy of Swing Lab Golf Performance. Stop by Swing Lab and get fit with all the new 2025 products, from Titleist to Callaway to TaylorMade. Their professional club fitters will use data-driven feedback to put any golfer in the right club. Swing Lab will also be doing a giveaway for 2 lower bowl tickets to the Minnesota Wild versus Dallas Stars on April 6th. That raffle going until March 31st. All you got to do is go in for a club fitting and a purchase, and you are automatically entered. Golf, hockey, they go hand in hand, you guys. Swing Lab Performance Golf is getting me geared up for a golf season, which, as we know, in Minnesota tends to come a little bit earlier than we'd like.
Absolutely. All right, next question is this, and this is something that Jessi, to her credit, has really been on far more than Age and I. Now, we've been talking about it a lot, but it's this. Okay, Kirill Kaprizov, again, might be done for the season. We do not know. But it certainly looks like it's probably a groin or a hernia that required surgical repair. And it cannot be dismissed as nothing. So, Jessi, July 1st, Kirill Kaprizov, eligible for an extension. He's going to want to max this thing out. And as we talked about, with the cap going up, we're talking about a maxing out of like 19, 18 million per. How much more emboldened are you on drawing a line in the sand here based on, we've seen this before, as you pointed out in a text, Marian Gaborik had the same type of problems. How much more concerned would you be about meeting Kaprizov's contractual demands based on this particular injury as well?
I mean, I just cackle at the idea that this could all be right, even when it's in bad situations like this, right? Like,
Oh, of course, because you're right. You're proven right.
I'm proven right. That's what I enjoy.
I don't
Means I'm
blame
not
you.
that crazy all the time. No, it's so hard with these injuries too. It's so hard because it's so dependent on the player, so dependent on how their body responds, how they respond. I think the good and the bad about Kirill is that he is such a beast, right? Like he is going to do everything he can to come back in top tier form. However, with an injury, as we have speculated, being this groin or maybe a sports hernia or what have you, you can't just go hard at it and expect it to heal, right? Like that's going to then in the long run hurt you, I think, too. So it's so difficult to assess what that means. Now, do I think Kirill Kaprizov throughout the course of his NHL career here deserves to be up in that higher echelon of payments? Absolutely. So go up to 15 million. Sure. If we want to do that, I'm okay with that. But now Bill Guerin and company have a little bit more leeway on their side saying, hey, you're right. You are only this. We are drawing the line here because we don't know what this injury looks like. As you mentioned, Gaborik, I have PTSD from the Gaborik situation because it just was so constant with this injury because he was never able to be the player that he was prior to the surgery, prior to those injuries, right? Like he had little spurts and little bouts, and you hope that that's not the case for Kaprizov. And obviously there's been advancements medically as well that will probably help him heal a little bit better, a little bit differently than Marion, but you just don't know. I think that's the toughest thing is you do not know. And Kirill is an exceptional player and he's somebody you want to have stay in Minnesota, but you hope that this doesn't dull that shine at all, right? Because there's just no way of knowing. There's just absolutely no way of knowing at this point.
I need to be a fly on the wall for those contract negotiations because like you heard it with Jeremy Swayman with his arbitration hearings that he kind of opened up about with the Boston Bruins, which was like, they're in a room. You think these people are your friends, and all of a sudden it's like you don't perform well in the playoffs. You dress terribly. I hate your teeth. Like they're ugly. You need braces. They tear you down in a professional way. Like, and now I think up until this injury, I think it was pretty simple for the Wild to say, you know, Kirill, you're right. You are our best player. You are the franchise. You are the. And Jessi now is bringing a great point to the table where the Wild on the other side of the table are going to be able to say, look, man. This is now 3 years, 3 years in a row that you've had some sort of significant injury. We would love to have you on the ice for us at whatever figure of money that you demand. But the problem is you're not on the ice all the time. And granted, some of them are not his problem or not his fault. When a 6'7" guy, Logan Stanley, who probably should be driving like a moving truck instead of playing NHL hockey, falls on you, that's a tough bounce. That's not much you can do there. But now stuff has lingered. Is re-agitated every single season, and he's out for significant time. If it was a couple games here and there, and at the end of the year, it's like 74 plus games that he's playing, I think nobody would bat an eye. 16, 17, 18, whatever you want. Sign it. We're good. But now it's like, you have surgery, you're out, a day-to-day speculation. All of a sudden you need surgery, and now you're out 4 to 6 weeks. They're going to have, like, this is going to be a battle. Hopefully at the end of the day, it's nothing that ruffles feathers too much to where there's a giant divide for some sort of extension. But this is a problem that the Wild maybe haven't had to deal with in a long time because they've never had a player of this caliber that they are trying now to extend. Like this is, in a sense, uncharted waters for the franchise. Maybe not for a Bill Guerin and his team who have obviously dealt with really good players in their time in front offices in the NHL.
I think the problem too is this. What gets him hurt is what makes him great. He plays as hard as anybody. And this sort of predating when we just came to the conclusion that he was chronically hurt, you know, this was the Byron Buxton story originally, right? Like dude's crashing into walls. Okay, we'd like you not to crash into walls, but are we really going to pull back on who you are as a player? Because that's going to take away from your abilities. I mean, Kirill Kaprizov, no one who watches him on a continual basis, and he's a moose, but he's not a big guy. He's a very strong guy. But no one that covers him or watches him all the time is absolutely shocked because he plays that style. But therein lies the problem. You can't tell him, hey, you know what, Kirill, keep your, don't go into the corner here, or don't do this, don't skate violently. It's just who he is. So I think I think it raises a real dilemma because at the end of the day, somebody is going to pay him. And Jessi, it's probably going to be Bill Guerin and the Wild. But that being said, as you've cautioned all along, you got to be careful here. Like if this kid's going to be destined to miss 15 to 20 games or more per season, at some point in time, the contract is going to become somewhat of an albatross contract. So long-winded way of saying this presents a huge dilemma because you love the player, you love what he brings. He is undoubtedly, when healthy, one of the most gifted players in the entire league, but the injury problem isn't entirely shocking, and I don't know it's going to dissipate.
Yeah, I mean, even just in his ice time, I remember John Hynes prior to, because remember Kirill came back from that 12-game missing, right, and was able to play before all of a sudden disappearing again. And I remember in that interim, John Hynes said, we are going to have to kind of change the way Kirill is a little bit. He can't be first on the ice. He can't be last on the ice. I mean, that guy is out there all the time, but that is what makes him great. Like you said, Judd, like you said, AJ, like that is the type of guy he is. That's why you love him. It's not just necessarily the skill set that he offers. It's his character and it's his work ethic and it's his demeanor. I mean, he's somebody you want as a part of your team for all of those attributes. And it's tough. I mean, you look at, we were applauding Hynes for double and triple shifting Kirill. Well, that's also something that you have to watch when he's been battling injuries like this, right? Like we can't expect him to be able to do both. He is only human. So I think it's a little bit more to the advantage of Bill Guerin because, as I mentioned, they are able to point to these instances and go there. But it's a tough situation, and it's a tough situation to look at down the stretch before the playoffs. What do you do? Do you keep what do you do with Kirill right now, and how do you keep him happy? Because I guarantee there is nobody more frustrated than Kirill Kaprizov too, right? Like we know who he is. Yeah.
But that's the problem is like. If he has any chance of doing more damage by coming back, I'm not bringing him back. Like and we don't know that the attempt, where he sat the 12 games and then they're like, okay, let's try it. Undoubtedly, partially because he said, I want to play. He came back and I'm willing to bet did more damage. And they were finally like, let's just do the surgery. So unfortunately, in some ways, what he wants in this case, like right now, I don't care about. But all of that being said, like this is a real conundrum now, and I think it's going to be an issue because I do think somebody will pay this kid. That's the thing. I just don't know if it's smart to make it if you have a real fear about how he's going to hold up in future years. Let's end with this. I got a few questions for you. Jessi, we'll start with you. So in having his suspension reduced from 10 to 8 games by good old Gary Bettman, basically what I read was they said, you know what? 8 games is going to teach Ryan Hartman his lesson. 8 games is going to teach him that you don't slam Tim Stützle's head into the ice ever again, that you don't throw your stick like a pitchfork across the ice because you're mad at an official. This is going to teach him his lesson for once and for all. Do you agree that this will create the new, kinder, smarter, less reactionary Ryan Hartman?
I don't know. Hartman still stands by. I don't know. Because he grew. Again, I credit Ryan Hartman grew a little bit this year, right? Like he was playing smarter for the most part. He was a little bit more level-headed. He, I think, recognized that the team needs him on the ice. They need him to be on that third and fourth line. The thing that makes me really question it is he still went to Gary Bettman and still went with the whole, I was off balance and I couldn't do it. Like he presented that as his one defense. And yes, I understand like you have to present something. I think, again, similar to Kirill, but on the flip side of the coin, it's hard to change a player. It's hard to change the way that they are built. And Ryan Hartman, I think, unfortunately, for us sometimes is built as that hot-headed guy that's just going to go in there and go crazy. I mean, the only reason it was even reduced is because he felt it was too big of a jump from his last suspension. Last suspension, which was his 5th suspension. So it's like, It wasn't necessarily that the punishment didn't fit the crime. It was just, we should have one more step before you all of a sudden get 10. We talked to Hartman today, actually. and he kind of grinned and bared it a little bit. He definitely said he's certainly going to be more careful and more cautious. He's focused on playing hockey and playing the way that he can. And that's to help the team. And he recognizes he did not help the team with his situation. And John Hines, I mean, again, they put him on they're calling it a plan. It's just basically bag skating him into the ground. Like, he doesn't get to go on the trips with the team so he can stay here and work on skills. Like, he's definitely being punished in that respect as well. But I don't know that, right? Because similar again to Kaprizov, the things that you love about Ryan Hartman are the grittiness, are the kind of crazy, the chaos. And so I just don't know that you can necessarily change that with one egregious suspension.
They should have made him like adopt a highway or something while he's suspended. Just out on like 694, just picking up trash on the side of the road. This highway is now sponsored by Ryan Hartman and the Minnesota Wild. I'm not fully bought in that this is going to change him either. That being said, I don't know if I necessarily, like Jessi is saying, want him to like fully change, because what his style of play does add something to this team. Like that fiery passion, you need that on the ice. But the problem is, like, you can't have a race car get into the red too much, because then you're blowing, engine blocks and all this stuff. That's where I think he crosses the line. When the wires get crossed, Ryan Hartman is not beneficial to the Minnesota Wild anymore. But when he toes that line, that's when he's at his best. And the problem is he just crosses those wires far too often, and then he loses his balance far too often as well, it seems like, and some other stuff. I shouldn't have had that popcorn. My stick slipped out of my hand. Sorry, ref.
I read the exact quote in the transcript between them, and I was like, oh my, they were just going with that, huh? Like, oh, he came off balance and shoved his head into the ice. Like, buddy, come on now.
Like I don't know if I'm a tennis guy, but Nick Kyrgios at like the US Open or Australian Open, like threw a water bottle.
Oh, I like Nick Kyrgios.
At the ref chair, and he like looks at it and was like, what? He goes, sorry, it slipped. It's like, you're on video clearly like cocking back and whipping this at the umpire chair. You're like, sorry, it slipped out of my hands. I don't know what to do. So that's what happened here with Ryan Hartman. But I don't think this will necessarily change him, but hopefully it molds him to set up a better barrier of not crossing that line of just totally losing control.
He's not back, right? He's not back.
He's not. What do you mean?
Not yet.
Oh, like return.
Yeah, they're not. I'm saying they're not going to bring him back in 2025, 26.
Re-sign him. Yeah.
Well, he's going in a year. So his contract, I'm checking it out here on Puckpedia. His contract is a 3-year contract, which I think runs through next season.
I've got it through 26-27 at $4 million a year.
Okay, so in year 2 of the contract, then he has a 15-team no trade list. In year 3, it's 10 teams. I got to think, because the problem with him is for him to pull the stunts when he does melt down that he pulls, you got to be damn close to like Tom Wilson, who's worth it because he's just so good. But I mean, I just don't think this guy's worth it. And he cost himself, 8 games, I guess, but he had cost himself, 10 games when he's a fairly important part, if nothing else, as a bottom 6 guy. And I think that their frustration in bag skating him and him not traveling is part and parcel of, you basically screwed us, because it was such a stupid thing. That game was hopeless. There is no upside. It's one thing for, and God bless him, when Faber takes a clean hit, and like took place with DeBrincat on Saturday, and it's a clean hit, but he's got his head down, and Boldy swoops in and takes a penalty. It's like, yeah, but that's a good teammate. What Hartman did was totally selfish. Like, there's no upside to, Tim Stützle, who is a skill guy, deserved to have his head driven into the ice. There's no upside there. So I got to think that John Hines doesn't strike me as the type of guy who would tolerate this very much.
Well, and it's just, again, it's on sheer emotions, which can be a great thing when harnessed and used to your advantage. Like, I'm going to just read the direct quote that we had from Hartman today. He just said, if I had any frustrations, it was with the call. I was frustrated that we were on a PK, but we killed the penalty, and that was the extent of the frustration of the play. We moved on from it and played hockey. To be honest, I didn't really know who the faceoff was against. You're put out there to win a faceoff, and that's important. And that was my goal, to win the faceoff. So, I mean, again, he's still not taking the full accountability, still not acknowledging.
I'm not saying that a little bit. He knew it was Stützle. So he's saying he didn't know that was Stützle, who he had gotten into it with?
No.
Oh, that's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
I'm more done with him now than I was before you read that quote. What a bunch of garbage.
It was a battle for an important face-off. It was a bad decision.
Right.
I guess I had a bad decision. That was,
No bleep, Sherlock.
Quick here for you, because I'm still kind of thinking about this. With this potential LTIR, I don't know, and we've already kind of voiced our opinion on this. Let me pivot this for you. You're not necessarily turning away from being like a buyer in the sense of getting players, but buyer in the sense for the Wild of getting draft capital. Because if you don't feel like you want to part with a prospect or more picks to add here this year, can you, and maybe I'm wrong here because maybe you can't do this with LTIR, but if you have cap space, could they potentially be the middleman for another team to hold on to certain cap space in replace for, now we're acquiring a 3rd round pick, or if it's a lot of money, a 2nd round pick? Because for a draft that you don't have a 1st, you don't have a 3rd, an extra 3rd or 4th rounder could be the difference of packaging that with your 2nd rounder, which should be in the second half of that 2nd round, to maybe move up for a guy who slips into that 2nd round, that Judd, Brackett, and crew that maybe all of a sudden you're getting a guy to help build for this team for the future without mortgaging, a major prospect.
I think you can, right, Jessi?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. There you go. Bill Guerin. Get after it.
Personally, I love moving future considerations. You know what I mean? Like, I just love moving that player the most.
But they're so good. They're so good in all those videos. Like, they're great for PR. The crowd loves them.
I know. So good.
All right. Second question. Is this a brief spurt, or has the Wild found something? Vinnie Hinostroza, picked up off the Predators off waivers, has 2 goals in his past 3 games. He's playing right wing on the second line. He's on the power play. Now he has to be. But this guy had 3 goals in his previous 53 games with 3 teams. And the funniest thing is he's replacing Ryan Hartman, whose wedding he was in, who he's big friends with. Do you think Vinnie Hinostroza, Jessi Pierce, has any staying power here?
No, I don't. He's fine. I'm not trying to diminish what he's been able to accomplish, but no. Plus, I have him on the 3rd line tonight. What are you talking about, the 2nd line? I put him on the 3rd line tonight.
Oh, he was on the 2nd line.
Right. No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm projecting him for the 3rd line tonight.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant you had seen the line runs.
No, they didn't do any line runs today. I have no idea. Again, I have no idea. Sorry, line Heathen. So I have no clue. Vinny's a 3rd liner to me.
I thought it was a fun question. I mean, the kid comes up, he plays well. I agree with you, but
you're grasping at straws, Judd. Come on, you want it to work with a Vinny.
Because Eriksson Ek went and played in this tournament, and I told him not to. Yeah, damn right, I'm grasping at straws. I'm trying to make it because I told John Hines. I basically got up and told him, don't let the guy go. Ground him. Keep him here. And they're like, oh, it'll be fine. He's just going to go play in an international freaking tournament for 3 games and spend every ounce he's got. And he's been hurt for 2 weeks before that. Yes, I'm grasping at straws because I'm royally pissed off. What are you doing? You're trying to win a damn Stanley Cup, and I got you playing for the Swedes. And by the way, you're going full bore there. You didn't sit out any games there. You sit out here. You come back here. And now you're like, I can't play again. I'm livid.
Did that feel good? Did that feel good for you?
Yes, it did, because I told these guys this would happen and nobody listened. Everyone laughed. Oh, it's a great tournament. They can go play. Oh, it's going to be great. I'm like, Eriksson Ek, he can't do that because he's going to go play his ass off. He aggravates it. And then the thing I love too is, well, we can't talk too much about it. BS, you can't talk about it. Number one, I want a Kaprizov report. You should be forced to tell me what the surgery was. This is crap. The fact that you can hide behind all of this, like, and then I see this from fans. It's HIPAA. It's not HIPAA. Sports injuries aren't HIPAA. If the guy's dying of something, God forbid, that's HIPAA. But if he's had groin surgery, that ain't HIPAA. Judd wants to know. I deserve to know. I can help you with these things. And now we got the whole thing. And now that I'm rolling, now we got the whole thing with the Wild doctors and this whole McAvoy mess. And it's going to turn out to be a negative. We never should have taken our staff there because now we're being blamed by the Bruins for their guy. And we think he got a shot, got infected. And so, yes, I could help you. I could lead your medical staff without a medical degree.
I'm glad we got this out. I didn't think the reaction we got at the start of the show was what this was going to be. So I'm glad you didn't hold this in. This is healthy. This is
Vinnie has
fantastic.
straws. I'm just trying to grasp at straws. Just sound like I think someone's doing something right here because I think they've screwed everything up.
Oh my God.
Vinnie Hinostroza is the catalyst to.
You know what? I'll say it. I like Vinnie Hinostroza's play so far. Bring him back next year. He's under contract another year. That's less
It's
than
a
$1
tiny
million
contract too.
Like,
Yeah, it's a tiny contract.
You know, and if you want to buy out some of these players, why not? That's a nice
Hartman.
little depth guy.
Ryan Hartman. You know what? Have Vinnie tell his buddy Ryan, you're gone, and I'm replacing you because you couldn't help yourself. You had to slam a dude's head into the ice. Tim Stutzla, nice German.
And that's for putting a beer on my tab at the wedding. It was a cash bar, Ryan. I told you to buy your own drinks.
Yeah, let's get more. I can't wait till the Olympics next year when the Russians are involved and we can send Kaprizov there and he can rip his groin. And then we'll be like, oh, I didn't see that coming. That's all I got. I'm done. I'm done. Unless you guys got more, I'm done. Judd's Hockey Show. For God's sakes, listen to me when I tell you not to play, guys.